I imagine if you're a Millwall fan, you've already watched this goal at least 20 times by now, so here's just one more for good measure. Hope you're doing well. Welcomes back to Where Lions Walk. We've got Mike back with us here, who still cannot believe what he witnessed at the New Den this weekend. How are you doing? Plus, this week, other than brilliant goals, we're also talking about this. Jimmy says, get a striker in January and we are going places. We are going to make the playoffs for certain. Do you agree? Plus, this week, we're talking about the madness of that Southampton game. The Christmas fixtures from Millwall, what do they look like and how good are they? Who do we want in the FA Cup third round draw? And we're up to the letter H in our A to Z. Who do we want in there? Mike, have you calmed down yet? Have you jumped out of your seat when that hit the back of the net? I mean,
to be honest, it was one of the most entertaining football matches that I've watched in a while. Like, in terms of, it just had everything. It was a little bit sort of slow to begin with, but to be honest, I think for maybe not just necessarily speaking for myself, but a lot of people sort of that I go with in the sort of in the Millwall circle, no one really expected to get anything from the match on Saturday. I think we worked out it was about 10 of the sort of starting sort of 16 or so players that were subs and things weren't available. So you just kind of, we had Dan Kelly, the kid in midfield making his debut. Kramer's playing a right back who's brilliant at right back, and it was a lot of just sort of fitting pieces into the puzzle, and I don't think anyone particularly expected it, and we've been turned over a few times this year, so it didn't necessarily have that sort of feel to it beforehand. It was almost, could we get a point, pretty much.
Absolutely, yeah. And this one from David. Take everything back I said about this group not being up for the fight. That was an incredible fight back against them and the Premier League referee. We proper bullied them. I mean, let's talk about the goal first of all, then, the one that everyone's obviously talking about. When was the last time you were at a ground where a centre-half hit a shot that sweet into the top bins?
To be honest, it's been some time. I don't think we've ever really had many. John, the only one I remember is Danny. One that always sticks out in mind is Danny Shitto. He had a chance and rocketed the crossbar from even further out that was. But yeah, it's been some time. It was, to be honest, everyone sort of alluded to shoot when he was sort of lining up, and I was thinking, please don't shoot. There is just absolute waste of a good bit of build up. We was on top by that point, and just didn't expect it, and all of a sudden it smacks the back of the net, and can't contain it.
Absolutely, the academy strikes again. I think the poor lad's going to hear a lot more of the word "shoot" when he's on the ball for the rest of his career now. Fred says, what a win, what a team, what a manager we have. Doing the Jose when Taylor slapped his goal, top pins was unreal. Something special is happening this season. It's unbelievable. Even the atmosphere was decent today. Yeah, do you get that tingle that something just is going to happen this season that perhaps we haven't seen at the Den for a while?
To be honest, I think a lot of it's down sort of tactics and the way we play. It's nice being more progressive, and I know it's still relatively, we do try and counter attack, but we are trying to sort of higher press and play more attacking football. We're not trying to necessarily go 1-0 up and then hold on or draw. To be honest, I do think this is the best chance, especially in sort of my lifetime. It feels that we've had a chance of really getting to the Premier League. I think the squad is there. I think the problem is we do have these sort of once a month games. This is the only thing that personally worries me? We have these once a month games. We lose 3-4-0, and you're just almost wondering, where do we go next? It weren't too long ago where we got battered by Birmingham. It didn't even look like we wanted to be there. None of the, half the players just didn't look like they even knew how to kick a ball 5 yards. It kept going out of play, and now we've got a couple of people back from injury. It's looked a little bit better. I think it's a big Christmas for us, to be honest. I think we'll know come the end of December where we'll realistically be at, because I think we've obviously got to have a lot of attention of some probably Premier League teams with some of the players we've got, Aziz, Kramer, and I can see some clubs definitely interested in them. So it's holding on to them sort of players as well. And then sort of adding to the list as well. One of the things we're going to sort of touch base on in a minute with the
Yeah.
strikers. I think if we can find another couple of gems in there on maybe even loans, perhaps. I do think it's definitely possible. I don't. I think for me, from top two is always going to be a tough ask. There's much bigger teams with bigger budgets that can go bigger in January than us. I don't think there's 6 teams better than us in the league. So I think we've got the points already at the moment. But yeah, it's such a tight league at the moment. It's this busy period where there's a huge block of games in a row is going to be quite telling.
Yeah, I think it was a Palace fan, or it might have been a Spurs fan that had started a thing about Millwall. Said, "Look, you are just you're a one man team. Look at your result against Portsmouth away. Was it last week or the week before? Without Femi, and he returns, and now look at you. And do you? I know there's lots more to it than that, but do you worry a little bit on your reliance on him, especially for the attacking play and obviously the goals which he scores? Without Femi's goals this season, where would you be?
Yeah, true. I think he's completely. I think if we are really realistically going for promotion this year, he cannot leave in January, regardless of who you look to bring in. I personally kind of feel that a little bit as well with when he got injured at Oxford, that was the turning point in the game. Like it just all of a sudden we looked disjointed. We conceded the equaliser. I know we sort of kicked on again in the second half, and we finished okay. And it was unfortunate to get that last minute equaliser, and then those sort of 2 games after it, where we just didn't look like scoring Birmingham, and he just seems to have this sort of aura around him that when he comes on, he's going to make things happen. And I think it's having someone so direct, willing to shoot, that has the sort of the capability to either take a man on, put a cross in, take shots from outside of the box, actually getting on target. We don't particularly have that elsewhere. He's the best at doing that in our team. So I wouldn't say we're necessarily a one-man team, but I can also see that when he's actually on the pitch, we do seem to have a different level that we can achieve.
Final point on the game then. It's coming home says we won a game from behind, third in the league, goal of the season. Made it hard on ourselves with that Azaz goal, but my word, what a performance and 3 points. When we have a healthy squad, we're as good as any other team in the league, minus Coventry, which is quite a statement. That if you think about the budget of Southampton and the budget of Ipswich and some of the players which Leicester have got, would you agree that you're as good as any other team in this league?
Team could be sort of taken in 2 words. Like, for example, like Leicester individually, their players are brilliant. Most of those you could sort of say, oh, I'd love to have them in our team. But they're not a team, I don't think. They never, especially when they played us, and I've watched them a couple of times when they've been on telly, they haven't seemed like a cohesive unit. So I think sometimes it isn't necessarily about individual talent. And to us, a team is hard to sort of say. We have, I think, only once this season we've ever had the same squad play 2 games in a row or start 2 matches in a row. We haven't actually, what on paper is our starting 11 probably hasn't actually been. But I don't think we've actually played our official starting 11 what we intended pre-season. And I think we got some good buys. I think we've bought well, and I think a few players could eventually get sold on for more. And I think I still think we need additions. I think that's the key part. I don't think we're the complete squad by any means. We're still lacking in areas. We have a lot of. I'd say we've got the best potential squad that we could ask for at the moment.
How strong are you in goalkeepers at the moment? Happy are you with what you have there? Some people have added to the list to say, well, we need a striker, but we also need another goalkeeper.
It's a weird one. So Steve Stephen Bender came in on loan from Fulham. He played. He's a really good shot stopper, but he was very he flaps at the ball. He doesn't seem very commanding in the box. He looked like he was always on the knife edge of making a mistake. And then he got injured and Crocombe came in, but he came in at a good time because everyone wanted sort of Crocombe to get his chance. For me, Crocombe's definitely the better keeper, I would say. I'm more confident with him in goal. But there are still games where goals we've conceded recently, particularly we've conceded a lot from outside the box, where some of them are just unsavable, and maybe it's just a bit harsh. But there's a couple of them you think, I feel like he could have done better. And those like 3-0 scorelines we've had a couple recently, where you just wish he could do a bit better. To be honest, we got Jensen, who was injured at the beginning of the year. He's due back any week now, so he would be the starting keeper if we all of a sudden he's back to exactly how he was back in January, February. He would instantly go back in for me, but he's been out for so long. I don't know how he's going to be on his return, but I think it'd be interesting to see how Alex Neil handles it once he is back to fitness and thinks he's ready to bring him back in. Because do you bring him back in? It depends on form in these run of games, I suppose, because it's not really it's not a position you rotate with. It's just you stick with one.
Okay. Thanks for all the comments on last week's video, agreeing with Mike's point about RBW, because Bangura Williams, of course, started against Southampton. Negley was dropped, much to the delight, I think, of many Millwall fans. How did he do?
Yeah, he was. I would say against Sheffield Wednesday when he was on, he linked up the play quite nicely. He done well with. He sort of came on in the last sort of 10-15 minutes or so against Sheffield Wednesday on the midweek on the Wednesday. And you can see his link-up play, and you can see what he offers. The ball's through the lines. No one does it better than him. We've had Kundal there, Smallbone, Negley. No one seems to play that sort of ball through the centre of the defence to sort of cut them open as well as he does. He played on... obviously, he played against Southampton. I thought he was good. I wouldn't say it was his best performance in the world, but I think everyone played really well regardless. But he just wasn't the focal point in that team. But no, I much prefer him with it. I think he's the best we've got in that sort of 10 role. But I don't think we really use the 10 role quite like other teams use the 10 role. It's a lot more of like a pressing role for us to sort of trigger the press and put their backline under pressure. Then
it's that high energy defensive one, isn't it? Making those mistakes. The Alex Neil sprint down the line, as the tweet mentioned there, is a bit uncharacteristic of Alex Neil. He's always quite. I always found him quite a morose man, and I mean that in all kind of way. But is that a sign of perhaps him just feeling a little bit of pressure that's been building in the last couple of weeks with some of the comments? So don't forget, we were only here a couple of weeks ago saying, is his position under threat?
Yeah, to be honest, it was brilliant to see. It feels like it's been a long time since I've seen that, and I've seen that. And I think there's a lot of everything. I think there was a lot of unjust with the penalty. I don't know what the Southampton podcast said about it. I thought it was very soft, to be honest. It was like, don't get me wrong, like it is a penalty, but there is way worse fouls in a box every single corner, let alone that one.
Yeah.
And I think that sort of got our backs up a little bit. And then obviously Aziz done brilliant, got his goal. And then I think that what we sort of sometimes struggle with, coming from behind and winning is not something we've done for a good 2-3 seasons at least. I think it was 2022 the last time we won from behind at home. And you could just feel when they scored that I backed up against the wall. To be honest, that was kind of, I assumed Southampton wouldn't necessarily sharp shot, but they would, just kill the game off and then get us on a counter attack. And I think it was just a pure moment of sort of ecstasy. I think that's the only way you could explain it. You could, if you look at the faces, on the watching the videos back, I think half the team are in disbelief with their mouths open, and even like the bench is swarming. It's still only the
Yeah.
73rd
Well,
minute or whatever it
yeah.
was he
Yeah.
scored. He,
It was the,
I think he just took everyone by surprise, and yeah, it was just one of those. It's just one of those moments you're never going to forget. You'll be talking about it in 2 years, 3 years time, 5
this
years
is it,
time.
isn't it? Yeah. People are going to be saying, "Where were you when Taylor hit that?"
Yeah.
Against Bazuna. Right then, let's move on. Then let's talk about the Christmas fixtures for Millwall. Then, because thick and fast now. This is really where, if you want to cement your place in the playoffs, Mike, isn't it? This period now can make or break a season, as we've seen so many times for so many clubs in the past. Let's have a quick look at it then. First of all, this odd double header against Bristol City, where you obviously got them this weekend at Ashton Gate, and then you see them again at your place at the end of the month. Does that give some teams an advantage that the fixture computer's done this? That you get one team that you play. I mean, of course, you get Southampton, of course, New Year's Day again as well.
Yeah.
I know we've had it before, but do you see it as a advantage, disadvantage?
I think it's 6-1. I think the good thing is if it kind of almost makes that first game, obviously on Saturday, a little bit more. You want to have that feel good factor. You don't want to, you want to get some sort of result away from home. I think almost what we need at the moment is just to steady the ship and get some sort of consistency at the moment. You don't want to be too yo-yo-y. I know it's always good to win game and then you can lose a game as opposed to 2 draws. I think it's just if we can remain consistent, get through without as minimal injury as possible. I still think the big issue with us is, regardless of the result, obviously on Saturday, we still have so many players injured. We had the likes of Zach Lovelace coming on, one of the youngsters. That was his sort of first minute since he left us a few years ago to go to Rangers. So we're still sort of piecing the jigsaw together. So it's trying to get through these games without dropping a huge amount of points, essentially pick up what we can. You can see what's happening to some other teams. If all of a sudden you go on a bad run of form, you can quickly drop down the table, and but I'm not worried about that too much. It's just it's going to be a tough few games. I think December is always a tough ask.
Some fans are saying that we're going to see a preview of the playoff semi-final this weekend, Bristol City against Millwall. That'd be good, wouldn't it? And then you play some teams where they concede. 3 teams which concede a lot of goals: Derby County, Hull City, and Blackburn. Defensively are all quite porous. Hull do score quite a lot, but they all score. And then, of course, a tough game against Ipswich, of course, on Boxing Day. That should be a good watch, actually. That one. And then, of course, Bristol City again. Yeah. So, what would you be happy taking as a points return out of 18 from those 6 in December?
I would. So the realist to me would probably say if we could get sort of 10 points, maybe, whether 3 wins and a draw and a couple of losses, I think that would show steady form. Really, going into anything more is a bonus. I think if all of a sudden you are talking 12 or 15 points from those games, because it's not necessarily like you look at the games individually. Because individually, I think on our day we can beat any of them in that sort of sense. The problem is a lot of midweek Saturday. There's the weather conditions, the injuries, it all starts to add up. If all of a sudden we're getting if we're getting 15, 18 points from sort of those games, you're really then thinking top 2 almost. You could sort of start to push for. I think sort of 10, 12 points I think would be reasonable, and I think that would still keep us ahead. I think it's such a tight championship that teams are just taking points off one another. It's not. I know Southampton just had 4 wins in a row, but I don't think there's many teams that are going to put together sort of 5 or 6 wins in a row, to be honest. I can't see it this year. It's sort of too open in that sort of sense. There's too much quality in the league.
The one picture, of course, that's not on there is the FA Cup 3rd round fixture, which the draw does take place next week. And we want your comments on this, so get typing away as we're talking here. Who do you want when Millwall's name is pulled out of that bag next week? Now, of course, the FA Cup for Millwall last year was quite a moment with that Palace game. Do you want a repeat of that and a big Premier League away day, or do you just want a nice quiet lower league team and have a good cup run? What would you
To be
want?
honest, it's almost a win-win. I think I would rather just one big Premier League away day, a good one as well,
Not
not
Palace.
not a mediocre one where you're going to lose anyway, and then it's just it's not worth it on the paper. But someone big away, you could, and then we don't have to. There's just no pressure on it. I think sometimes those sort of cup runs, and it can take a lot of pressure. It puts a lot of pressure on the players because if you get a smaller team and you don't play them off the park and win the first round, and it can deflate you and things like that. Anything, the magic of the FA Cup, isn't it? To be honest, I'd rather just get a big team, and for me, I'm happy to have an early exit from it. It's not something that I'm particularly personally interested in this year, and I think it would be different if we got too many injuries to worry about
Okay.
fielding, some of these other matches. But
If you were 14th at mid-table and not doing either thing in terms of promotion or relegation, your answer
correct.
would be different, wouldn't it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Then you'd want one of the smaller ones and sort of start to
Yeah.
progress. Because
Okay.
I love it. I love the FA Cup.
Right. Let's do it then. The Emirates away, shall we? Let's get Arsenal
Yeah,
away. Yeah. Let's go a little bit of that. We'll take that.
or probably West Ham away, or Tottenham
Where's
away.
oh god?
I suppose you could put Palace in there, but I think
You
three
could beat
times in
you,
one
you
year.
could I think you could genuinely beat West Ham in watching some of their games this
I
season.
know that would be a good feel factor. They
You could. God, imagine the scenes. Right, right there we
behind
go.
closed doors. I think that game would be.
Definitely would be after last time. My God. Right, let's and moving on to the final bit then. Yeah, the A to Z of Millwall continues with the letter H. Yeah,
It's
who have you got
G.
for this one, mate? Oh,
Is it a
G.
G
God,
this week?
G. We skip on, don't we? Yeah, sorry. We need to catch up. Yeah, G. Where are you up to with G?
To be fair, G, there is a couple we got. I'll sort of just because it's me, I'll try and sort of rattle off a couple of the other ones. I sort of made a note of. You got Paul Goddard, who up until sort of 5 years ago, I think was our record signing at 800,000, and that's ever since we've been founded. It's only in recent years we've actually sort of broke that pay structure. But I think, for me personally, Lee Gregory is always one that I loved him when he played for us. I was gutted when he left, and yeah, I think he played. I think it was just over sort of 200 games in the end. He played for us. Yeah, it was just 201 games he played for us. He was I was a big favourite. His partnership with Steve Morrison was fun to watch. It was a good time watching Millwall then when it was in League One, and it just all went well.
Cheers, though, Mike. Who has he missed though? Any older generation ones? Let us know in the comments, like you always do, and we're definitely up to H next week. So let us know. Let us know about that. Right. Good luck then this weekend against Bristol City. We'll be back here in 7 days' time, of course, to review it all with you. And if you haven't yet subbed to the channel, we know there's great other Millwall podcasts there, chat with chaps, etc., etc. The extra one as well. Be grateful, really grateful. You just press the sub button and help us grow our numbers on this one. If you can squeeze 20 more minutes of Millwall chat into your lives. Thanks again, Mike. Really appreciate your excellent analysis as always. We'll catch you after the Bristol City game. Enjoy it.
Thanks a lot.